First off, your stash is epic, my man. I love a good mustache, and you are killing it.
Hey, thank you. I know it's nice. I had this big old honking beard for a while, so it's nice to see a little bit of my chin again.
It's actually the only thing that I can grow. This all is kind of patchy, but this is like a broom when it comes in. I mean, it is thick. No, first off, dude, the show is awesome, and my son and I binged the whole thing. He's 17, so it wasn't like I was a bad parent or anything.
Yeah, these murderous monsters running around.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to spoil anything either, but you and Frank Grillo have this moment on the show where, can I just say, the way you describe When Harry Met Sally is the single greatest movie synopsis ever spoken. I
Thank
would
you
pay
very
good
much.
money to just see you as Frankenstein describing movies.
I mean, I do think that, yeah, had Eric Frankenstein not gone into the trying to torment the Bride of Frankenstein business, he could have been a movie critic.
We need a new movie trailer voice guy, so he could have done it.
That is hilarious idea though. I actually might take that. The idea of him just describing movies in his insane ways, pretty
Dude,
priceless.
I love it. I love it. Now, Frankenstein is like not just one of the most iconic characters in horror, but like in all of literature. So, in what ways do you feel like you and James Gunn have made your version of Frankenstein unique compared to so many past interpretations?
I think it was important to see the character on the page that James had written, and he wrote. There's a lot of opportunity for a guy who, is trying to do the right thing, who has been cobbled together through a bunch of things and just who has this intense narcissism and need. One of the colors that I wanted to play with, though, is I remembered from Branagh's Frankenstein years ago with De Niro as the monster. He had this thing where he's reading books and he wanted to be this companion. He was sort of built to be this sophisticated, erudite companion, and he's just a monster. And I really like that idea. So even as you say with the movie reviews and stuff, like I feel like there's this inadequate component where he does feel like he's sort of brilliant and he's going to charm you. And then out of that comes this this insane rage and this insane passion because he's built with someone else's spleen and someone else's liver. And
Actually, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up De Niro's Frankenstein because that kind of leads into my next question, which is
yeah,
like, were there any previous Frankenstein performances that obviously you were inspired a little bit by De Niro, but maybe that you even consciously tried to subvert when coming up with Frank's tone and cadence and things like that?
yeah. I mean, there is the Boris Karloff, like the old original Frankenstein monster idea, which I think he's this guy's not as stiff. There's something more, a little more fluid about him, or he's a little more of an action hero, kind of.
Mm.
But I did like the De Niro take. I thought that movie was such an interesting idea of what they were trying to do. They, again, it's these. I don't think it was that successful. I think it was like a bit of a miss. But I love Kenneth Branagh. I love what he's trying to do, and I always like that kind of take of. I'd never really seen the monster as being intended to be a sophisticated companion. I remember that. But it was more just impressions and things that I'd had, and I didn't really want to go specifically either for or against types on things. I've sort of made that mistake in the past, and I like to approach things as fresh as I possibly can. I think people's associations with Frankenstein are interesting to play the character because you'll subvert them and surprise them just by the mere nature of the script itself. The Creature Commandos is like so weird, but I think it's other people's interpretations that are most interesting. Mine is going to be just uniquely specific to what I find interesting, and the character itself is written.
If Frankenstein ever made like the jump to live action, would you prefer to do motion capture like Sean does for Weasel, or would you want to go the more practical prosthetic look, or have you had enough of that? You're like, nah, thanks, I don't do that anymore.
I mean, I like the idea of a combination. I don't know exactly. I mean, James seems to do very well with the real reality of the CG stuff, like what he did in Guardians with those animals. And there are things where I just thought that little girl weaselly otter thing, whatever, was so sweet, like the most sort of emotional character in the whole thing. So I think he has an ability to do it. I think there is some fun to be had with enhanced practical effects that like I do like, a guy in a puppet suit. I mean, I even from our first season of Stranger Things, like Demogorgon was like a guy in a suit, and like I just love that. There's something really fun and like electric about live action. And I know I've done a bunch of it, and it was hard, but there's something like a little kid about getting dressed up like a monster and being on set that to me feels more satisfying than the blue dots and the mocap thing. And I feel like you're in it more too. Like
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally understand you feeling like it makes it easier to become that character. Have you had any discussions with James about how you'd like to further explore Frankenstein as a character post Creature Commandos?
No. We talked about what it might look like and we had a casual conversations, but no, nothing more.
Well, since Frankenstein can replace missing body parts, I thought this was fun to think about. But what parts would you take from some of your other characters in order to make Frankenstein just more badass?
I'd take I'd take the Red Guardian's ability to get in his own way.
Not
Just
his velvety Russian accent.
maybe his velvety Russian accent. That's a better one. What else would I
I
take?
feel like you need Hellboy's right hand of doom. Like you have to take that. Give it to Frankenstein.
Yeah, give that to Frankenstein. We might take Hopper's love handles from season 3, pop those on the sides, give them a little bit of weight, heft around the section.
This question's gonna be stupid, but I want to ask it. So Frankenstein, Hellboy, Santa Claus, and Red Guardian all get into a bar fight. Who's getting knocked out first, and who's walking out the winner?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, I just have an initial, I don't know why, but I just have an initial impulse that Santa's going to walk out the winner. I just think that there's something about the magic of Christmas that just beats the crap out of everything else.
I think that's true. In fact, I want to specifically say I love everything you do. I'm such a massive fan of your work, but I'm absolutely psyched to see a sequel to Violent Night. So has there been any like movement on that, or have you been able to read a script yet, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're alone in that desire, and I think that
I'm
yeah.
definitely not. It's awesome.
Well, keep your eyes peeled because I also love that movie, and I think that Universal's excited about that idea as well. So we're working a little bit, yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait. My imagination's going a little crazy with how you guys might implement some more Christmas mythology. I'm just hoping that we see some kung fu elves or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it'll. I mean, I do think there's some very talented people working on it. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Well, excluding Frankenstein, which of the Commandos would you most love to see make the jump into live action?
They're all great. I love them all. I do have a special affinity for that Bride of Frankenstein, just because I love also what Indira did with that performance. There's such a sophisticated disdain, and she feels like a real person that could exist in the world. And I was just kind of blown away. It was the most surprising of the roles, and so I'd love to see her. I'd love to see her live action.
Well, I asked that question to Frank Grillo, and me and him both agreed that you were the one we want to see in live action
Oh,
next. So, dude, I loved your performance. I think it's fantastic,
thanks.
and like I said, I love everything you do, and I know you got a million people to talk to today, but I want to say thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. That's so sweet, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
See you, buddy.